eating. Dad, if you can try to steal, I'm definitely not gonna. Can I see if they chop my stick?
You can see they're in like a netting material, so
that's what they like. Good morning. We are on the Paleoshats Peninsula, just south of the little gap on the mainland where Bosnia has a little bit of shoreline that sticks out into the Adriatic Sea, and there's a border crossing there, obviously, and that's where we drove through yesterday as part of our every 6-month export-import process for our van. We have to do that just so that we don't have to do a long-term or a permanent import with our van, which is not what we want to do. We want to eventually ship the van back to the US. So paying all the taxes and go through the process to import our van here while we're here for however many years is not worth it to us. It's not ideal. And also when you do that, on top of just having to pay the really expensive taxes, you also have to do annual inspections, which just adds another level of complexity to our situation. So we just deal with having to do this every 6 months, which usually isn't a problem because we're traveling anyways. But yeah, this year's a different year for sure. We came down, and then there's this peninsula. It's called Paleoshats Peninsula that we're on. If you look at the map, you can see that the coastline comes down, and there's a peninsula that kind of curves back up into the Adriatic. And this is kind of like the bay. This is on the inside of that peninsula. So this bay is kind of known for farming oysters and mussels and different kinds of shellfish. So that's why all those floating things out there are oyster clam farms. And this is also like pretty nice shore area for swimming. We found a spot right here last night. There's another young German couple who's been here for a couple nights. It's like an abandoned campground that I don't know how long it's been abandoned, but there is a bathhouse that's got broken glass and trash all over it. There's like connection boxes for power and water that's totally inoperable, not working. I don't know who owns it. Somebody does own it because it's an olive tree grove. There's olive trees everywhere, and there are even relatively new olive trees that have been planted. So the owner does use it as his olive tree grove, but no longer as a campground anymore. I don't know if he ever comes down and kicks people out. From the reviews on Park from Night, looks like they do from time to time, but last night we were okay. We stayed last night, no problems. There were some locals that walked by or drove by. One guy kind of drove by kind of quick in his car. I don't know if he did it because that's just what he does, or if he's showing some sign of displeasure that we're here. Who knows? But I don't know if we're gonna stay. It is pretty nice. We do have to get going because we have some packages coming into the split apartment that we have to be there to receive. That was not our original plan. Our original plan was to leave Split and be out of Split for a couple weeks and then go back to the village. But that is not meant to be. We can't miss these packages. So we're hoping to be back in Split on Friday. And actually starting Friday, today's really nice. There's no clouds, super sunny, warm. But starting on Saturday, Friday or Saturday, I think there's another, 4 or 5 days worth of rain coming. So I think we'll go back to Split, wait for those packages to be delivered, and then we can head back out. Hopefully go back to the village finally. But today we're gonna take it slow. It's Wednesday, so we got a couple days before we have to be back there. And the way that you get back from here is you go up to near the top of this peninsula, and there's a ferry that takes us across to the town of Ploče, which is where I shot the last dailies video. That is where that river, the Neretva River, comes out. So we're going to be heading back that way. So we won't have to drive back across the border to get back to where we came from. We'll just be able to take the ferry across, and that ferry will drop us off on the north side of that border. And then we're just a few hours away, 2 or 3 hour drive away from Split. But I'm trying to enjoy the time outside of Split in some quiet, small town nature before we have to be back there. We were here on this peninsula almost 2 years ago. I uploaded a video on the main channel from the city of Stone, which has like a wall fortress that goes up a mountain, so you can hike it, and they do a marathon there every year. We did a small version of that walk. It was pretty cool. We drove by it this time, but we didn't go. Came here instead. Wanted to try something new. So that's it. I want to give you guys a quick update on how the border crossing went. Literally nothing at the border. They didn't ask us anything. We handed over our passport and our ID cards. They didn't even say a word. We just handed over. I don't even think they stamped or scanned anything. They just gave it back to us, and then we're on our way. Usually at these borders, there's a exit border. So when you leave Croatia, there's a Croatian customs that checks your stuff when you leave, and then there's a Bosnian custom that checks your stuff when you enter. But not at this one. This one was just one gate on each side. So in and out, both of them didn't ask any questions. No PCR tests, no temperature checks. They didn't ask how long we're going to be there. They didn't ask where we're going. I was actually quite surprised because I expected, to have to at least answer some questions, but nothing. They just let us through. It must be because that it's a pretty popular route that a lot of Croatians take to go up and down. Because if you don't take the ferry like we're going to take tomorrow from on the tip of the peninsula across to Ploče, you have to drive through there. So that's the only road. So that must be like if you show up with a Croatian ID card, which we have. Yeah, maybe they just don't ask many questions. But I don't know what it'll be like if you show up with a foreign third party or third country national passport. Maybe there'll be more questioning involved. But for us, no problems. We did get gas there. We took pictures, took video of our time outside of Bosnia, even though it was only like 20 minutes. And we kept the receipt for the gas station. This time we didn't buy liability insurance like we normally do because I just don't think there was a place to sell it. They expect you to be in and out in a matter of minutes. So there's nobody there to sell insurance. But hopefully we'll have enough proof that we were gone this time if we ever get asked. We'll leave again, hopefully, in a few months, depending on how things look. So what we did yesterday should be proof enough to get us longer stay with the van. Anyways, thank you guys for supporting us as always. I'll see you in the next dailies.